everybody. Hope you're doing all right today. Nice weather here. Going to have a little hot one today. It's going to be about 80 degrees. And so you folks back in Texas, eat your heart out. I'm just kidding. But anyway, there's not a thing we can do about the weather, so we just have to live with it. As you can see from the title, there's already controversy in this lesson, but sometimes some things just need to be said. So in our world, it is politically incorrect to even mention the word racist or racism, depending on who you are. Some people aren't allowed to talk about it, but others who want to talk about it, they kind of eliminate the others as being able to talk about it. And we know how that goes. But see, the thing is, in the politically correct spectrum, it's wrong to mention Jesus. It's wrong to mention God. It's wrong to mention sin. It's wrong to mention heaven. Well, here I've created several taboos by mentioning the word racist and will not go to heaven. So that is controversial right there, because there's a lot of people who are racist who basically think they're going to heaven. And I'm going to tell them right now, they're not. This information needs to be covered. See, the soul is more important than culture, feelings, and opinions. If someone is in danger of having to face eternal torment, it is the duty and responsibility of all Christians to warn them of their error and encourage them to turn to the Lord and live by His laws. All right, a racist is not limited to one group of people. And that's despite what you might hear in social media. No, it's not. See, if you listen to the news media these days, one might get the opinion that only white people are racist. And let's face it, I've never been called racist except on social media. Just because, for no other reason than my profile shows that I'm a white guy. And so people assume I'm a racist. But people who know me, they know better. So, what foolishness. That's all I can say. It is foolishness. See, a racist is one who hates others because of the color of their skin. And I know there's a lot of animosity towards other races in all segments of our society. And when you hear and see black people say things like kill white people, and how can you say that's not racist? Well, it is. Yeah, they can be racist, and white people can be racist, Spanish people can be racist, Orientals can be racist, Middle Eastern can be racist, those from India and Pakistan, they can be racist. And you don't believe that's true? Just read the restaurant reviews about people going in and how they're treated compared to how other people are treated. So, yeah, I mean, you see this going on all the time. So it does exist, and it's sad, it's pathetic, but it does exist in our country, and it's an ugly thing to see, and it actually is going on all around the world. And so I wish we could all gather around the campfire and sing Kumbaya and our problems be solved. Well, the problem is it's not going to be solved that way. There's only the problem, and government programs or organizations are not going to fix the problem. But I'll jump in here and tell you right now, the only way to fix racism is to change the hearts of those involved. I mean, getting blacks to stop the hatred of the white person, getting whites to stop the hatred of the black person. And what about the horrible way other races are treated? You know, Orientals, Latino, Middle Eastern, they all suffer such treatments. And this is not limited to the USA. I mean, many battles and wars have been fought over ethnic cleansing and genocide, and it continues even today. It is taking place. People are killing people just because of who they are. And so it's always been a problem, and unless God comes into the formula, it always will. That's the problem with our world today. They want to live in a utopian society. They want to live according to all the rules that God sets forth as being what would be good for everybody. but then they don't want to live with God. They don't want God in the picture. So they just ignore all of everything that God has to say. So the Bible is full of scriptures, and we don't have time to go into all of them. We'll mention a few. The Bible is full of scriptures that instruct the followers of God to love their neighbor, and that includes those who look different than you. Love your neighbor as yourself, the second greatest commandment. And this does include those who are different from you, whether male or female, or nowadays, whatever. I mean, then of course, black or white, brown, whatever. And we not only are to love our neighbor, we are to pursue peace with everyone that we can. See, the writer says in Hebrews 12:14, pursue peace with all men. And Paul said in Romans 12:18, if possible, so far as depends on you, be at peace with all men. See, one can do their best to be at peace, but others may reject such attempts to bring about peace. And that is the problem that we are facing these days. Some people say, yeah, we want to get along. Others don't want to get along. And so then we have problems. So Jesus tells us to love one another. And of course, the writings of the gospel make no distinction of color, gender, past religious affiliation, or economic status, or anything. I mean, it does mention a poor man and a rich man, and how you're not supposed to show preference to the rich man simply because he has fine clothes. And you treat the poor man disparagingly. We read that in the book of James. And so, yes. And of course, Jesus commended certain women for seeking those things that were righteousness and involved with his gospel. And so we see these things. The Bible even tells us to be kindly affectionate towards one another. You know, Romans 12:10, depending on which version you're looking at, uses that phrase. And all these verses are written to Christians. The Bible, the New Testament, is written to Christians. And many will choose not to obey God, and that is the reason such animosity is going to continue. See, if people will change their ways, repent of their sins, and do what God teaches them to do, the world would be a utopia that many only dream about. And that's what they want. They want everybody to be kind to one another, pursue peace with each other, treat each other respectfully. They want to do all these things, which basically the Bible teaches Christians are supposed to do. But like I say, most of this world wants to do it without God. But don't bring God into the picture. So guess what's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing is going to change. Our world is not going to get better. So here's the point of the lesson. If you have animosity towards those of another race, and even if they're not of another race, you can still have animosity towards anyone, no matter what color they are. And you may feel justified in promoting violence against them. You may be blaming them for all your problems and all those other things. But the problem is, if you have animosity towards anyone, doesn't matter what color they are, if you have animosity and hatred in your heart for anyone, you cannot go to heaven. See, heaven is a place reserved for people who care about others and help others. That is what we're commanded to do throughout the pages of the New Testament. We're to assist each other to get to heaven. You know, in Matthew chapter 25, we have the picture of the great judgment scene. And when we see here, we don't say, well, you did this, you used the instrument, or you didn't use the instrument, you used organizations, you didn't follow the word precisely. We don't read that. Here's the standard that Jesus gives, and he's teaching a lesson which we have to get. This great judgment scene, we see the standard of judgment. It doesn't rest on doctrinal issues. We cannot say that they're important or not important. They are important, and yes, we should be doing that to the best of our ability. But it resides in how we treat our fellow man. If they choose to practice a different religion, we don't have the right to treat them horribly or in any way with a mean spirit or with wrath or anger in our heart. So, and of course, the pages of the Bible explain that more than anything else. How we treat others will determine our eternal destiny. And yes, Jesus said, you did this for me. And they said, well, when did we ever do it to you? He says, the fact that you did it to the least of mine, you did it to me. And then, of course, the other way, you didn't do things for me. You didn't treat me nice. Well, when did we ever not treat you, Jesus, nice? Well, the fact that you didn't do it to the least of mine. So, folks, that puts the onus on us. I mean, how we treat others is going to determine very strongly whether we go to heaven or not. And so we need to see what we can do to determine our eternal destiny. See, one can go to church all their life, have a good moral lifestyle, be a beacon of light to many in the community, but if they have hatred in their heart for anyone, one soul even, they will be lost forever. Yeah, that's harsh. That's controversial to say, but I believe it's the truth. See, over the years, many have become embittered about this issue. See, people are claiming to find racism in almost everything these days. You notice, it's just like the atheists. They find Christianity in everything. They see a shadow of a light pole, and they say, "Here's a shadow. Here's a picture of the cross. We got to get that removed from our society," and stupid things like that. But people see that. I mean, dress standards, clothing standards are set and recorded, and they say, "Well, that's racist," and stuff like that. But many have become embittered about this issue. They find racism in almost everything these days, and especially here on social media. And perhaps many are extra sensitive in some areas. See, they're going to claim you're racist when there were no evil intentions or racial intentions offered at all. Because of this, many people choose not to say anything at all for fear of engendering strife among their friends. See, our social media avenues have shamed people into saying all sorts of stupid stuff, or emboldened people say all sorts of stupid stuff. When a college professor comes out and says just all white people just need to commit suicide, make our world a better place. Well, maybe if some did, it might, but that's not going to solve the problem. So a lot of people say a race war is needed. No, it's not. We've been fighting that for years, trying to get away from it. And it's only recently been brought into the picture. See, one person said get this, a white woman says she chose not to have children because they might be born white. Folks, stop the foolishness, stop the insanity, start using logical reasoning, and just treat people like people. That's all you have to do. You don't have to treat them badly or differently because of the color of their skin. Do not look at black, white, red, brown, yellow, olive color, or whatever color you want to put here. Stop talking about it. Treat all people equally and treat them with respect. Treat them like a member of your race, the human race. I like what the quote's been attributed to Morgan Freeman about this. Well, how do we solve the race problem? He said, stop calling me a black man and I'll stop calling you a white man. I mean, how simple can that be? And we shouldn't be looking at people based on color. You remember what Martin Luther King Jr. said? He looked for the day when people would be judged not by the color of their skin, by the content of their character. And there's a lot of people who are trying to live that way, but yet still the charge of racist is slammed on them all the time. And so it's unfortunate, and I don't like being called a racist because I'm not, and I know that. And so all I can say is until more people turn to God and live the life that God wants them to live, such foolishness is going to continue. It's not going to stop. It might settle down for a while. We hope it does. It might just get into a full-fledged civil war. We don't know where it's taking us. But our nation does need a revival, and what they need is God. They need to come back to do things God's way and treat people the way God commands people to be treated. And so these are some thoughts, and you might think, well, you don't have a right to talk about racism. I mean, you see that. I mean, you look on television, well, we're going to have a forum on racism, and one of the comments is, no whites allowed. Really? I mean, isn't that racist in itself? Yeah, and there's people want to do that. They want the segregation. Folks, that's not right. All I can tell you, God does not appreciate racism. He doesn't appreciate the racist, and a racist will not go to heaven. And you can think all the sort of things you want to think about yourself, but if you have animosity and hatred towards anyone, you'll not go to heaven. And that includes whether it's the people you can come in contact with, or people across the country, or people around the world. If you have hatred towards anyone, you cannot go to heaven. On the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, I say, love your enemies. Do good to them that spitefully use you and mistreat you. So yes, if we want to go to heaven, we cannot have any racist feelings in our hearts towards anyone. All right, I've spoken enough, just enough for you to chew on. Think about these things and consider these things. If you want to, you can share this message with others. And we hope that you'll have a good rest of the day, despite the fact it may be hot where you are there in Texas. But anyway, do your best and look forward to tomorrow, the Lord's Day, when we can gather with the saints and give Him praise and glory. So consider these thoughts. You have a good day, and Lord willing, we'll be back again tomorrow. All right, bye-bye for now.